Good afternoon, this is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding, here to discuss the very basics of what is an expatriate and who's subject to the rules. Expatriation is the process of giving up your U.S. status. It's generally going to apply to U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents, especially long-term residents, which are legal permanent residents who have had that status for at least 8 of the last 15 years. The rules aren't applicable to visa holders or other foreign nationals who only are subject to U.S. tax on their worldwide income and worldwide reporting of assets solely because they met the substantial presence test. So if you're a visa holder, you're here on an L1, H1B, you don't have to worry about these rules. All you have to do is not meet the substantial presence test. Permanent residents and citizens have permanent status. People who meet the substantial presence test are considered temporary. Temporary doesn't have to go through the expatriation rules. Expatriation involves mainly three key points. First is planning and strategizing to evaluate your assets and liabilities, net income tax. Have you been in compliance for the past 5 years? To determine how much you're worth, what your net income tax liability is, and whether you can certify you've been tax compliant. If you're not near the $2 million net worth, more than $2 million net worth, and or your net income tax liability is below whatever the adjustment is for that year, it adjusts for inflation. Currently, it's around $168,000. Then it's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay. Generally, you do the expatriating event, which for permanent residents is filing a Form I-407. For U.S. citizens, it's typically going into the consulate and expatriating that way, relinquishing your U.S. citizenship. After you've done that, then in the following year, when you're filing, so if it's 2020, you're expatriated. In 2021, you will complete your Form 8854. And the key issue with the Form 8854 is whether you're a covered expatriate or not. If you're not a covered expatriate, it's not that complicated. You just kind of go through, fill out the form, ask some basic questions, but you're not a covered expatriate, so it ends at that step. If you are a covered expatriate, then there's a lot more you have to do. You have to essentially do a balance sheet on unrealized gain of certain assets, so stock and funds and all that kind of fun stuff. You have to figure out what kind of gain you would have had you sold it the day before for fair market value. There are some rules with the basis. Basis is usually the value when it was gifted to you or when you purchased it. If you had assets before you had U.S. status, then there might be some step-up basis for certain assets. And then there's an exclusion amount, $720,000 and change. So if the total gain is going to be below that amount, then the exemption or exclusion should cover, so you don't have any exit tax. But you might also have some deemed distributions for things like ineligible deferred compensation, such as a foreign pension plan. So if you're a covered expatriate, it could get complicated. You should probably speak with someone about it to make sure you got your ducks in a row. If you want more information about this, we have lots of information available on our main website, goldinglawyers.com. We also have a sister website dedicated exclusively to expatriation, expatriationattorneys.com. You can always schedule a reduced 30 or 60-minute consultation. Again, my name is Sean Golding with Golding & Golding. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.